India today has tracked down some illegal Bangladeshis living in India who are now desperate to return home to Bangladesh. In some instances, they have certain Indian documents. Some have even voted in past elections, but now fear a massive crackdown on illegal ghuspetiyas, including on illegal Bangladeshis in India, and are moving out lock, stock and barrel, family in tow. India Today's correspondents in Bengal at the India-Bangladesh border spoke to some of these illegal Bangladeshis on how and when they entered India, how long they stayed here, what kind of documents were they able to gather, and now why are they returning to Bangladesh? And in some instances, they said it's the fear of the special intensive revision of the electoral roll, this special drive to cleanse and purify the voter list that's forcing them to return. Because now they know they're illegal and they will be caught out and maybe sent to jail for long. It started as a trickle. It's now being assessed at 200, at least 200 illegals returning to Bangladesh virtually every other day. Tapas Sen Gupta is at the India-Bangladesh border. He sent us this report.
The special intensive revision of electoral rolls has sparked fear among suspected Bangladeshi nationals. Every day, 200 to 300 people are reaching the Hakimpur checkpost on the border looking to cross over to Bangladesh. Many of them admitted to India Today how they entered the country illegally several years ago, stayed here and even procured Aadhaar and election ID cards. Mithu Mola claims that he came to India with his mother, sister, brother-in-law and their 2 children. They entered India through the riverine border in Dhamakhali with the help of agents who charged them rupees 6,000 per person.
কিভাবে এসেছিলেন ভিসা নিয়ে এসেছিলেন
না এমনি ওই ধামাখালি দিয়ে পার হয়েছিলাম
They say that they had crossed over the border from Dhamakhali, another place in North 24 Parganas, and they did not have visa. They illegally entered the Indian territory.
ভোট আপনার ওই 3 বার দিয়েছিলাম
He has casted his mandate in India thrice, as he said.
Mithu Mola's mother, Anyora Bibi, claimed that her son got documents after filling up forms at a government camp. With the implementation of SIR, they are keen to return to Bangladesh.
এখন তো আমাদের থাকতে দিচ্ছে না এখানে তাই
কে থাকতে দিচ্ছেন না
ওই দিচ্ছে না মানে সরকারে বলতে এখন ওই সব যারা মানে ভোট নেয় ওরা বলতে এখন আর এখানে থাকা হবে না যাদের ভোটার কার্ড নেই
हर शाम आँखों पर तेरा चल लहराए
Mehdi Hassan Ahmed, who's visually impaired, claims he came to India 20 years ago with his parents for the treatment of his eyes, but never returned.
मैं सांस लेता हूँ तेरी खुशबू आती है
He, along with his parents, had settled in Hugli's Dankuni. He now wishes to pursue a career in singing in Bangladesh.
है मेरे दिल की धड़कन भी तेरी गीत गाती है
20 साल पहले बांग्लादेश से यहाँ आया था मेरे मम्मी और पापा मुझे लाए थे यहाँ आंखों का डॉक्टर दिखाने जबकि हम इनलीगल वजह से आए थे तो जा नहीं पाए उसके बाद यहाँ रह गए थे अब गवर्नमेंट ने जाने का मौका दिया थैंक्स टू इंडियन गवर्नमेंट
The ruling Trinamool Congress blamed the central government for illegal immigration.
कुछ आदमी ऐसा हो सकता है कि बांग्लादेश से इधर आया है जहाँ से आ रहा है वहीं उसको रोकना चाहिए तो दिल्ली का जो दुर्बलता है वो हमारे ऊपर छिपाने का कोई काम नहीं
Many identified as migrant laborers from Bangladesh's Satkira and Khulna districts are reportedly choosing to return voluntarily due to SIR in the state. Sources have confirmed to India Today that approximately 200 Bangladeshi nationals are being handed over daily after rigorous verification process and recording of biometrics.
This is one such camp that we have come in near the Hakimpur BOP. Children in large number, females in large number, they have come out here just waiting to cross over to the other side of the border in order to reach back their motherland. But the larger question remains that how could they enter India? How could they give a mess to the BSF? And how could they stay here without being detected and even working in construction sites of government. With video journalist Tapush Bairi, this is Tapush Gupta for India Today in North 24 Parganas, Hakimpur.
West Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee calls the special intensive revision of the voter list super emergency being imposed. She wants this process to be stopped. The BJP has hit back, saying she wants it stopped because her voter base is slipping. But what should one make of these illegals heading back to Bangladesh? Is it the SIR impact? And if so, should it not be welcomed? Joining me on this India First special broadcast is Priyanka Diprewal, represents the Bharatiya Janata Party. Meeta Chakravarti represents the Congress Party on this broadcast. Tausif Ahmed Khan is an advocate and political analyst close to the ruling Trinamool Congress. Rishi Bagri is a political analyst, and Shikha Mukherjee is a very well-respected political commentator in Bengal. Tausif, why is Mamata Banerjee calling the SIR super emergency? Why does she want to have it stopped?
Gaurav, we all know the last time SIR was conducted in Bengal in 2002, the election took place 3 years later. So there was good 3 years time available to complete the entire exercise. Now, so 1 decade later, the government wants the election commission to complete this exercise of SIR within a short span of time just before the election, because the government, obviously the BJP party, has some evil designs, and we do not say it without any proof. Ample proof is provided by Mamata Banerjee herself when she held the meeting earlier this year in Netaji Indoor Stadium, and also by Rahul Gandhi during the several press conference. The question is, the entire exercise of cleaning the voter list should be made with a view to hold free and fair election, not with a view to give some advantage to BJP or the party in power at center. Because
Fair
that
enough.
defeats the whole purpose of holding elections. The elections has to be free and fair. We have seen instances where fake voters are added, and those are the fake voters who are seen to be voting in favor of BJP. As we have seen, as Mamata Banerjee has shown instances, name appears in Bengal voter list as well as in Gujarat voter list. We see name of BJP leaders
So let's
appearing
take
in
this
two
step by
different
step, the
states.
points that you're raising. I want to bring in Priyanka Tibrewal to respond to what you're saying, because Priyanka Tibrewal, the Bengal Chief Minister, says 28 lives have been lost already since the beginning of the SIR process. She calls the process flawed. There's needless workload being imposed on the BLO by the Election Commission. And you've heard Tausif saying this is intended only to benefit the ruling party at the center.
Very good evening, Gaurav. See, Gaurav, the answer to the question lies in the videos itself. Why Mamata ji is so worried? It is because the flocks which she were holding together is now running out of her clutches. We see that they are swelling at the Hakimpur border to move out of Bengal. Now, that is the reason for her concern. Another poisonous lie which comes from Mamata Banerjee, because she is trying to shield the infiltrators' empire from this SIR, but is unable to do so. That is why she is raising these kind of concerns of suicides, which she calls suicide, but we refrain from saying so. We want to find out whether actually these are suicide or abetment to suicide or murder. Is a matter of investigation. I would also
Ma'am,
state
that's a
that in an
grave charge if you think
NDA-ruled
that's
Bihar,
abetment to suicide.
yes, and why I say so, I'm explaining it here. In an NDA-ruled Bihar, SIR took place within the similar time limit, and an election also took place. We didn't see anybody dying there. Why is it happening in West Bengal? Now, I tell you that the gun is pointed towards the Trinamool. They have to answer. It is because their ministers, their nephew, their leader, Bobby Hakim, on open platform, they have said that we will tie these BLOs to trees and make sure that, they can't run. Why do you want to tie them? They are government employees. Because you
I'll
are
get
forcing
Tausif to
them.
respond, but let me
Initially, they
also bring
forced
in
them.
Meeta Chakravarti into this conversation. Ms. Chakravarti, how does the Congress view hundreds of illegal Bangladeshis returning home since the SIR process started? These are people, and you've heard them on camera, they admit they've been living in India illegally. Some even voted in past elections, but now fear if they are caught out, they'll be jailed, therefore find it safer to return to Bangladesh.
Good evening to all your viewers. Firstly, no one wants illegal immigrants to enter their territory and have access to the state resources. So we are against illegal immigrants, and I think the Home Minister and the central government, who are responsible for managing the borders and the border security force, will have a lot to answer as how did these illegal immigrants get into our state, have access to our resources, have access to livelihood on the soil of West Bengal. The Home Minister and the central government has to answer that there. Number one. Number two, Indian National Congress Party is not against SIR. This is not the first time SIR has happened in India. But we are against politically motivated SIR. We are against the Election Commission of India acting as a frontal cell of Bharatiya Janata Party. So when we see, and Mr. Rahul Gandhi had gone on record and given case evidences and case studies and data pointers, one after another, when we see that Brazilian models picture are being used 22 times in Haryana voter list, when we see a tiny one-bedroom flat having 65 and 85 registered voters, and this had been fact-checked by your channel as well, India Today. When we see that multiple fake and duplicate voters, yes, we do want a cleansing of this voter list. So we are in favor of a transparently done SIR. But when we see that SIR is actually deleting valid voters and including fake voters, then we have a right to oppose it, because here the system is turning itself against its own people. This is not democracy. This is not governance. This is ECI acting very irresponsibly as a frontal of the Bharatiya Janata Party. And we are well within
Priyanka Tibrewal also to respond to this.
We want SIR to happen with a longer timeline.
These kind of fake claims.
Just one by one. Okay, Ms. Chakrabarti wants to make a final point, Ms. Tibrewal.
Time for SIR to be completed.
Fair enough. Rishi, before I bring in Priyanka Tibrewal and Tausif back into this conversation, Rishi Bagri, how do you view the illegal Bangladeshis returning to their country? Is SIR the reason? Is there another reason? Of course, the person our reporter spoke to said he came to India 20 years ago. Of course, the Home Minister of India 20 years ago should answer how did this happen, and those who came recently, the current leadership must answer. But Rishi, go on.
Hi, Gaurav. You need to understand one thing, that if the last SIR happened in 2002, obviously the illegal migrants don't have neither they have their name in the SIR, neither their parents' name, neither their grandparents' name. So obviously they know that their game is over. They need to pack up and they need to go. Most of these people have been given the identity card by the ruling government so that they keep on voting to them. That's the reason you can see your own people are saying that this guy was voting 3 times or 4 times in last so many years. So you can imagine the kind of rigging which has happened. In Bihar, they were saying that it's a political motivated SIR. In Bihar, 65 bogus voters were actually, have been deleted.
Lakhs.
And
yes.
65 lakhs. And not a single, claim by the Congress BLO has come to in their favor. Ki boss, isko delete mat karo. They are genuine voters. They are not a single votes. And even if you see the percentage of the deletion, 83% of the votes which were deleted belong to Hindus. So even if they're saying that only Muslim people are going to, only minorities are going to get, targeted, that's not the fact. 83% Hindus voters were being deleted in SIR in Bihar, and rest 16% were from the Muslim community.
Shikha Mukherjee. Okay, let's take this step by step, because there are multiple points that have been raised. And Shikha Mukherjee, would you want to respond to some of these, and also the point that the BJP raises, SIR, the process also happened in Bihar. It's now happening across 12 states and union territories. Why is it so contentious, especially in Bengal. And your reading of these images on India Today, our special ground report showing hundreds of illegal Bangladeshis now returning since this process started. A trickle, or is this significant?
Okay. Gaurav, I'll just talk a little bit about data points. I don't want to get into the political argument about it. So the SIR process, contrary to the perception, is happening across 12 states. And you have Kerala, Tamil Nadu also taking a position on it, which is, and they've gone to court, like the West Bengal government has. And then in West Bengal, the rhetorics, of course, is always at an incredibly high pitch. And that is part of the politics and the culture of politics in the state. The BJP, the Congress, the CPM, and the Trinamool, they match each other for the kind of rhetorics that they exchange. Now, having said that, let's look at the data. The BJP on its own admission says that there are something like 1.8, 1.4, 1.04, 1.08 crore Ghuspetias in Bengal. Now, that is a number which, I was talking to Jahar Sarkar the other day, and he was a Rajya Sabha MP, as you know. And he said, no, I have a written answer from the Union Home Minister saying that there are 2 crore Ghuspetias across the country. Now, so I will leave I'll leave this point right here. The thing is that if there are 200 or 400 people crossing over into Bangladesh now, what is exactly this magnitude of outflow? Number one. Number two, as far as Taposh Sengupta's report I saw, was focused on the number of Muslims who are leaving the country, India, and going back into Bangladesh. The issue actually is that there are absolutely lakhs and lakhs of Hindus who also came via the same route, including the Matwas, including other castes of Hindus who came across in the same route, and they are living here, and they're not going back.
I mean, they'll be killed if they go back. Look at the way Hindus are being treated in Bangladesh under the Mohammed Yunus regime.
What happens across the border is one issue, but the fact is that there are a lot of Hindu illegal migrants, and what happens to them? If the question is if the SIR may be scaring these particular people, this particular section of voters, of illegal migrants to go across, because the voting process, the enumeration forms, the process of verification is going to catch up with their status as illegals. What happens to the Hindu illegal migrant who came? And there are absolutely lakhs of them. The Matwas, if you recall, were on hunger strike, and they just called it off because they said they have assurances from the Trinamool Congress that nothing will happen to them. On the other hand, what do we have? We have the BJP organizing at least 17 or 18 CAA camps in various parts of the border districts where there is where obviously the population that comes across tends to settle in larger numbers. And the districts are known because
so would CAA kick in for them? Is that the point that you're raising, and will not kick in for the illegal Muslims? They're the only ones who are going back?
The SIR, no.
Because SIR anyway is not NRC, though the TMC does allege it's NRC by backdoor.
The SIR is a neutral process, or we understand the SIR to be a neutral process. Since the SIR is going to be a neutral process, there is also concern about what happens to all these people.
Okay. So let me bring in Priyanka Tibrewal to weigh in on this, because these are some very pertinent points that have been raised. But would you also then want to weigh in on what the Union Home Minister and the Prime Minister have said? People of the origin whose religions have originated in this land here, they naturally come here for protection. But Tausif, Suvendu Adhikari is actually accusing TMC of large-scale electoral fraud. Now, he has claimed that there are 13,25,000, if I've got that number correctly, 13,25,000 duplicate, fraudulent and multiple entries across 294 assembly constituencies. He said that in a statement. He claims this is not a glitch, but a deliberate entry to steal the mandate by the TMC. And this SIR process is a way to remove these glitches or frauds in the system, sir.
Gaurav, Suvendu Adhikari is trying to do some kind of damage control because he has already exposed his policy and his collusion, BJP's collusion with Election Commission by his previous statements. Not only him, but also another MP from Bengal, forgetting his name. He also said on record in a meeting that 1.2 crore voter names will be removed from the voter list. And as the question here is, we all know BJP always turns any process into Hindu and Muslim thing. Now, the question, how many fake voters are BJP going to add through the process of SIR? And who are these people? These are the people for which BJP has opened the border. Home Minister Amit Shah opened the border to allowing the Bangladeshis to come inside our country, to cross the border and live here illegally. And now they are going to be made a citizen of India and given a right illegally to vote.
So I'm sure the TMC will oppose that. I mean, are these Hindus who are being brought in? Are these Hindus and Muslims? What is your take on that? How do you see this, Tausif?
No, from right from 1970s, there have been various rehabilitation program of the government, rehabilitating various Bangladeshi Hindus in India and giving them property rights, including
and
the
BJP was
Patwa
doing
community.
it since then. Is that what your point is? That BJP has been doing it since the 70s?
No. And now BJP, while with the fall of Sheikh Hasina government, has opened the border. It is BJP's government which is providing them with Aadhaar card. It is BJP's government which is providing them with election card. These are not the card which the state government can issue. These cards are issued by the central government. The border is guarded by Amit Shah's men. The BSF is under a home ministry headed by Amit Shah. Therefore, the whole the whole design that BJP has to take over Bengal through various illegal means, come what may, they may try every trick on the book, but on ground it is Mamata Banerjee who enjoys the popularity, and she will hold the fortress, she will hold the ground.
Let me get Priyanka Tibrewal to respond to that. That's a very pertinent point you've raised, sir.
Elections.
That's a very pertinent point you've raised, sir, when you say that Hindus, from Bangladesh are being brought in and they are being made citizens. Shikha Mukherjee also seemed to indicate towards that. And it's only illegal Muslims who are being either sent back or are going back. Priyanka Tibrewal, do respond to this also, ma'am. The TMC is accusing the BJP of trying to bring the NRC through the back door in the name of SIR. If a voter has an election card or an Aadhaar card or has voted in the past, why are they returning to Bangladesh, madam?
Well, Gaurav, you'll have to give me extra time because I need to, address to the concerns of all the three participants who have raised the questions. Now, allegations will only remain allegations without evidence. First of all, if I answer to Shikhaji's concern about why Hindus, what will happen to Hindus who came. So again, this is what CAA says. And CAA, let me remind you, came before SIR, which was declared by the Election Commission. Now, what did CAA say? This is why we wanted you to understand CAA initially. And now also we are asking you to understand what CAA meant. That anybody, any Hindu coming from these three countries, which were Afghanistan, Pakistan or Bangladesh, who had to face religious persecution, will get citizenship under the Act, which people of West Bengal, few like Ms. Mukherjee and Mamata Banerjee, They said, no, we will not allow CAA to be implemented. Now, that is the reason why they are concerned today. But even then, for the well-being of people, we said that since it is a central act, nobody or no state government can stop it, and CAA will be implemented, and it is being implemented. Various camps are being set up, and people are going and getting their citizenship done, because it specifically said it is for Hindus, Buddhists, Sikhs, and Christians who have faced religious persecution. That was the answer to Ms. Mukherjee. Secondly, what Mr. Tausif, he has raised a concern that borders were opened by Amit Shah. Let me remind you that two or three people your channel spoke to. What did they say? They entered the country 20 years back. Who was the home minister 20 years back? That is the question pertinent here. But even then, since Tausif is an advocate, I would like to remind him about the Immigration Foreign Order 2025. What does it say, Tausif? It says prevention, detection, and restricting movement of illegal immigrants. State government shall take steps to detect illegal migrants in India in accordance with the procedures specified in the central government. Why didn't the state government do anything? Because again, the answer to this is that the state government was feeding their purpose on these flocks coming from Bangladesh. That is why the concern is there today, that their voters are going back to Bangladesh. They had issued voter cards. Then he said these voter cards and Aadhaar cards are given by center.
The center.
Do you know, just a few days back, how many fake voter cards and Aadhaar cards were found? Who issued them in your state? It was done under the nose of your government here in the state. So they were using fake
Tausif,
voter
you want
cards
to
and
quickly
Aadhaar cards
respond
to
before
vote.
I bring in Ms. Chakravarti? Tausif, quickly respond, sir. I want to bring in Ms. Chakravarti into this conversation. You're on mute, sir. Okay, give me a moment as I reestablish that link with Tausif. Meeta Chakravarti, when I recently interviewed Union Home Minister Amit Shah in Purnia during the second phase of the Bihar elections, just before it, he said India will not let Ghuspetiyas or outsiders vote and elect either chief ministers or decide who Prime Minister of India will be. Clearly, there can be no objection to wanting Ghuspetiyas out and purification of the electoral risk. Before you respond, listen in to the Home Minister, madam. Just listen in. सर, जो घुसपैठियों का खतरा है वो किस तरह से सीमांचल के बहुत बुरी तरह प्रभावित कर रहा है?
पूरे देश के लिए प्रभावित कर सकते। मैं देश की जनता को कहना चाहता हूँ, किसी भी राज्य का सीएम या देश का पीएम कौन हो, वो निर्णय इस देश के नागरिक न हो ऐसे लोग करेंगे क्या? किस तरह से देश सुरक्षित रहेगा, किस तरह से हमारा लोकतंत्र सुरक्षित रहेगा? विपक्ष के लिए ये वोट बैंक का मुद्दा है, हमारे लिए हमारी लोकतंत्र की सुरक्षा का, देश की सुरक्षा का मुद्दा है।
So, Ms. Chakravarti, the purification process is on. If there is anything illegal, the Election Commission says there is a time frame given, identify the wrongdoings. In case any legal person has been removed, add him back to the list. Your BLA can do that. Anybody who's aware of, I think there are 1,200 voters per booth. It can be done accordingly so that there aren't long queues. So is that possible to do? Identify fraud and point it out, or any irregularity and point it out to the Election Commission?
See, quite a few pointers being raised. Very recently, there was a news report in the media that a BLO2 called Shanti Muni in Jalpaiguri had committed suicide because of excessive work stress. Now, in a state as big and as densely populated and as complex as West Bengal, giving such a short timeline for the SIR process to be completed is extremely unfortunate, and it's obviously going to give you an erroneous result. Because there are BLO2s appointed by all political organizations, but for them to review whether somebody is being omitted on purpose and whether fake voters and duplicate voters are being added, it requires more time. It requires a lot of intensive effort, and we are not being given the time. So the reason why we approached the Supreme Court of India is because we wanted an extension. Now, everybody knew that West Bengal is going to see elections before May 2026. It's not an unknown fact. So then why did we wait till November of 2025 to kickstart the process of SIR so that you can have a lot of erroneous, duplicate, fake voters list being put on purpose to help the
ma'am, permit me to improve that line with you in just a moment. Sorry. Yeah, go on. Go on. We lost you in between, but go on, please.
Okay. Okay, so was the purpose to help BJP by putting in more fake duplicate voters and by eliminating valid voters and not giving time to the BLOs of different organizations, to the booth level or agents of different organizations, or to actually counter check? Because a process like
Okay.
SIR in a state as big as West Bengal requires more time, and that is why we have approached the Supreme Court. By all means, we need a free, fair voter list. But
Oh,
by doing
absolutely.
it
And
in
that's a
such a
story
short
we'll
time,
be tracking in
just
courts
not
of law
helping the
also very
sector to be
closely.
dispensation.
Shikha Mukherjee, leader of opposition in the assembly, Suvendu Adhikari claimed, at least 20% to 30% Bangladeshi Muslims. That's also something that you pointed out, that Bangladeshi Muslims are leaving. Bordering villages and towns are empty. Outskirts of Kolkata's new town, people are not getting domestic help or workers because illegal Bangladeshis are leaving. Do you see this as pre-poll propaganda of the BJP?
I do, because it's highly exaggerated. I live near Newtown. I know what is the status there, and I don't hear people I know, and they're mostly young people or very old people who are living there. I don't hear them complaining the same at this level of complaint, which would suggest that there is this exodus. Number one. Number two, and that's why I think that if the SIR process is to be satisfactory to all sides, and that it should be. It can't be as though it appears a good exercise to one set of people and seems a terrible exercise to the others. Having said that, if it's a clean electoral roll, it's a clean electoral roll, and everybody accepts it. So, having said that, this is a question that I have for Priyanka Tibrewal. How many people in West Bengal have been given citizenship after they have applied for the under CAA? As far as I know, we have no clear data on this. What we do know is that something like 250, 300, 400 people, mostly from Afghanistan and Pakistan, a lot of the Sikhs families and also Sindhis, I think, have been given citizenship when they applied for it. We do not know what the status is.
Very pertinent question. Mr.
Gaurav, I
Tibrewal,
can
you want
answer
to
that
quickly respond?
immediately.
Yes.
Yes, I will have it. I won't take much time. Now, today, I am very happy and glad that Ms. Mukherjee wants to know about this data, because few days and months back, they didn't want the implementation of CAA. Where was their concern for these religiously persecuted people who
Priyanka
came from
Tibrewal,
the other end? No. I will answer. Ms. Mukherjee, you asked me a question. I will answer on that.
Don't confuse the thing.
Ms. Mukherjee,
Don't
I'm not
confuse the
confusing.
thing.
It is through people like you who are trying to put this into those Hindus or Jains or Christians who came from there. Let's see, your names will be stuck. No, their names will not be struck off because they are going to get registered under CAA, and that is the clarity. I am also asking the same thing. I am also giving an answer to the same. Again, I say the state government,
Just on
people
merits,
like
Mr. Tibrewal, the
they
question that Ms. Mukherjee asked, numbers.
They said that we don't want Matuas. We have given patas to Matuas, where we said that no, citizenship should be given to Matuas. So, Ms. Mukherjee, please do not panic or do not create an environment of panic for anybody. Because all those who came on religious persecution,
answer the question.
I answered your question, although you do not like the answer. Those Hindus who came will get a citizenship. Don't worry, their names will not be struck off. Rather, their names will be there in the voter list. So that is the answer to your question.
Do we have details of numbers and specifics just as yet, Mr. Tibrewal?
That is what I'm saying, Gaurav, that when numbers and questions were asked to them before implementation of CAA, they said we will not give any answers. We will not give any statements about numbers of Matuas here. Now today, let the process of at least tell the state government to give an open, free hand for implementation in West Bengal. Then they are free to ask for numbers and we will give them numbers.
Tausif, please respond, sir.
Gaurav, I'll give just one small and simple example how this SIR exercise is being conducted. and why we say that the election commission is compromised and working for the favor of BJP. Now, there was a rule that the BLO has to be appointed in each areas where he is a voter. Now, this rule, which basically means that BJP has to find a BLO from the particular area, and they could not find it. Therefore, the rule was amended, and this rule that the BLO has to be from that has to be a voter of that particular area has been done away with. This has been modified right now, just a
Tausif,
week
under
or 10 days ago.
324
Now
article,
these kind
Election
of
Commission is
these
empowered to
no,
make
please
any
do not
changes they
interrupt. Do
wish
not interrupt.
for
Do
working
not
of an
interrupt. You
SIR.
will
So
speak
please do not try and
when you
confuse
get a
people and
chance.
do not try to
This is
spread
how
fake lies and news
how
on national television.
election
Stop doing
commission
that.
is
The
behaving.
fact is,
This
in
is
case the
how
process
BJP
is flawed or illegal, there are courts of law. There are courts of law where it can be and should be challenged if there are illegalities. But the last 30 seconds I have on this part of the show, and Rishi, you've been very patiently listening. What is your understanding of reports from Gulshan Colony? Again, is this propaganda when the BJP claims that of 2 lakh residents, BLO could barely trace about 20,000? The majority had fled. Again, we are told if there are 2 crore illegal Bangladeshis in India, if a couple of hundred are leaving, what difference would that make?
But that couple of every day, and you need to understand from each and every district, and the 500 citizens which were leaving today were from the Raja itself. So that is one point, and I need to have 3 more points, which is very important. One, the panels, especially the people from Congress and the TMC, are confusing the audience between the legal and the illegal citizens. I mean, those citizens who have a proper document and they came from the CA, they are the legal citizen. If they are very, and second, there is SIR conducted all over India. Why only the BLOs are dying in the West Bengal? That's the second question I need to know. And third question, which is I want to say that most of the Hindus which came from during the 1970, so they are very much citizen in 2000 SIR. So why they are being questioned right now?
And these are points over next several days and weeks as this topic intensifies, we will continue to seek answers to. I've run out of time. My apologies to all our guests. I've run out of time and overshot it by a distance, if I may, by a limit. But I will come back to the story in the days and weeks ahead. I want to thank all my guests for joining me here and helping us understand what's happening on ground in Bengal.